We'll take up that Beavis and Butthead time.
Let me ask you this, boys. What's your favorite live action trailer for a video game and why? Is it the Halo ODST one? That was from our loyal listener, Pedro,
Pedro. Shout out to Pedro.
but it's a valid question. Why is it Halo ODST? Even though I've never seen that. Actually, Pedro, none of us have seen that. Nobody plays Halo. Come on, Pedro. Halo. Halo. What is it? 2006, Pedro.
Right.
Anyway, I kid, I
trying to-
jest, I goof, Pedro. What's your guys' favorite live action trailer? Let's start with Jeffrey.
I'm trying to think of what's had some good live action ones. I feel like there was a good like Far Cry 3 one, maybe Far Cry 4 one that was pretty good if I recall. But man, I'm trying to think of especially if we're going in the realm of like I know it needs to be live action, but I think about things like the Gears Mad World trailer, which looks nothing like the game. Like it is very detailed and very planned out. So I would almost put that in the conversation. But yeah, any of the Halo stuff they did, I remember there's like a promotional Halo 3 trailer where I think it might have even been like the beginning of like the Spielberg rumors that were out there, where they kind of had the lifelike Halo video. I'll have to find it and send you a link. So ODST probably is up there, but I would have to remember it, or I'd have to watch it again.
All
Do
right.
you remember the Gears of War Batista trailer from 2019? Remember when he got added to Gears of War and they put him
Mhm.
in a commercial?
What?
Like he
Yeah.
was wearing the Gears shoulder pads and he puts on his little glasses. and
What's
he's
that?
like,
What's it called? I forget. Where it's like it's not Baron Stain Bears, it's Berenstein Bears. The Mandela effect. Are you trying to Mandela affect us, Vector?
But you said you didn't know Batista was in Gears of War?
What's Gears of War?
I don't think Rob knows who Batista
Aw.
is.
Rob, you know Batista. He
I know
knows
you-
Drax.
Oh, you're talking
No.
about Doink the Clown?
I don't know.
Favorite wrestler? Well,
I'm gonna
no,
play
I don't
this.
remember
I'm gonna
that.
play this for Rob real quick.
Oh.
Since
If
he's
you're cool, hold up your cups.
fooling. Look, Rob. Look.
Oh yeah, we'll watch this too. Yeah, I think so. He's trying to get into the movie, right? Like
This
that
is
he's
a
been
deep fake.
Stupid.
This is from 2019.
Yeah, why does he have boobs? This is a deep fake.
Look,
He was like trying to get into the movie, if you recall. Like he's
Yeah.
done a
at
lot
his
of talking
arms.
about wanting to be Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah,
And I
do
would like to
recall.
see that. I would want I think you could do an interesting Gears of War thing. I just don't know
you could have. He's too
who
old
should
now.
do it. He could fit in there, I think. I think he could.
Well,
I think he could.
And why
still
is he
do it.
fighting a Terminator?
deep fake his body. Well, this was also they had Linda Hamilton as a character in Gears of War 5.
What?
And that was her in the live
that's
action.
true.
I haven't played
yeah.
Gears of War since.
Terminator was
before
in there
this.
as well. Yeah,
Dang.
there were Terminators and Gears. Yeah.
Jeff and I beat Gears 5. We saw credits co-op,
Mhm.
Rob.
Wow, brag much.
And I would say ODST. When I think about ODST, I don't even think about that trailer. I think about the game. That's one of my. It would be high up there on like my favorite kind of like game experiences, like that noir mystery Halo, like pretty unique thing to do in the middle of that franchise.
Yeah.
But and another thing was there's a Halo 3 trailer. I'm pretty sure it's Halo 3, where it's like that. It's almost like a the little figurines on like there's like a hilltop and Master Chief is at the top and the trailer is like very slow and like zooms in on each like little figurine, like they look lifelike, but then it zooms out and shows you that like this, I don't even know what you would call that, like they look almost, I want to say it's like mini figures type thing that they built for like a,
That sounds like Halo
board
Wars.
game. Yeah, it could be that too. But I remember liking that trailer, like that just being cool. Halo actually has, I think, overall like a great collection of like memorable like trailers and teasers for me. But I don't remember the ODST live action one, to be honest.
There's so many good live action trailers. Off the top of my head, you got Titanfall, Far Cry 3, Star Wars Battlefront. This is all off the top of my head. Need for Speed,
guy.
Most Wanted, Call of Duty, Black Ops. If I remember this off the top of my head, guys.
He said
Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, Sleeping Dogs. This is all just just trying to do my best to remember. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, Metro, Last Light, Halo, ODST. But off the very tippy top of my dome, if I go through all these facts, because I am basically a wealth of video game knowledge on any subject, I'm gonna give the best live action trailer to the movie that played before Resident Evil on PlayStation 1, where you get to see all the stars teams, and they're like, Chris, chill.
Very Resident Evil-esque.
Where they're all just looking at the camera like it's a sitcom.
Oh man,
I'm about to kill some zombies. That's definitely the best live action trailer. So Pedro, thanks for the question.
Hey, I didn't get to answer.
Oh, what? The Kwai baby. Okay, what
for live action? I'm gonna go Star Wars Battlefront. Best. Look at this.
That is live action.
Video game. That's a video game you're showing us right now.
That's how good it looks, Rob. It looks like it's live action. That's how good the Battlefront graphics were. Remember that?
Guys, are we figuring out that live action trailers for video games suck?
No.
Is that what we're what we're figuring out right now? That none of
them
are
live
good?
action trailer. You just
now, let me show you my other favorite live action trailer.
Yeah.
So,
why don't you show me?
This Batman Arkham Origins trailer is the best live action trailer of all time.
That's clearly a cartoon.
The emotion on Bruce Wayne's face. Look at the depth of his training. You get his entire story right here. That's Batman. This is the best trailer in the history of live action video games right here. Boom! Pedro, we got you.
We've determined that Trent doesn't know what live action means.
That is live action.
That's okay.
I mean, it's action and it's live.
It's action and I'm alive while I watch it.
Yeah.
That's it. Live action.
Thanks, Pedro, for that. Cheers to you.
Now I'm gonna go watch my favorite live action show, Rick and Morty. And after that, I'm gonna go read my favorite live action book, Captain Underpants.
Yes.
And then, after
all of these are correct.
I'm gonna go feed my favorite live action hamburger, a Big Mac.
None of these are incorrect. Off the top of Rob's dome, none of these are incorrect.
All right, welcome to level 88 of the Sandbox Gamers podcast, a podcast where three idiots meet weekly to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of Vitya. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your co-host with the most, Wonder Rob, coming at you live. Well, semi-live after the fact, but live on YouTube Live, if you're one of the lucky few catching it, from Southern California. And on the line with me are two of my best Arizona friends in the metaverse. The Master Chief of our podcast, Factor.
I need a weapon.
Okay. And the flood of our pod, the always angry JeffW.
Factor's closer to one of the grunts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am Cortana, your virtual assistant. I'm not wearing any clothes. Hologram. Don't look at my butt. Don't be turning the camera.
Rob didn't go off the script. He's going off script, everybody.
This is all written. This is all written. And you can't prove it's not.
All right, let me pull up the
R.I.P.
show notes real quick.
R.I.P. Cortana. Look how fast he's typing so he can pull up the show notes. Wow. Anything you see is a fabrication. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the
Look,
Sandbox Gamer. Look,
right
look at him.
here.
Look how he's
He
finishing
wrote it. Did you
He
see?
wrote-
Look, Jeff wrote it. Look, Jeff wrote it. We
wrote
saw
it.
your cursor, Jeff.
That's not me. I'm not even
Does-
in it.
Rip Cortana's boobs. Spelled B-E-W-B.
New York
Yes.
bibs.
I just wrote the boobs part.
New York boobs. That's a deep cut for anybody out there. Anyway, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Sandbox Gamers. If you're catching us on YouTube by chance, go ahead and hit subscribe. Give us a like. Why don't you? If you're listening to us on any other podcatcher, again, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, because we're coming at you every week on the Sandbox Gamers YouTube and on the Sandbox Gamers podcast feed. So thank you. We'll talk a little more about that at the end of the pod, but I have to tell you, this is super important. JeffW is always DTF. That stands for Down to Talk Fun, everybody. So let's hop into our strategy guide section where we're talking all the latest and greatest video game news. Take it away, Vector.
Oh, yeah. Well, this came to us courtesy of Jeff W. He said we had to talk about this. So we all know that Jeff loves Apple. So this is breaking news. Just right before we started recording, Apple is opening up its App Store to game streaming services like xCloud and NVIDIA GeForce Now, the one that Rob still pays for, but he didn't know it. They all be able to have a single app to stream games to iPhones and iPads. So what do you think about this, Rob?
It's interesting. Right before Jeff W showed me this article, I saw a tweet on the Fortnite Twitter. Not that I follow Fortnite. I ain't no casual. No offense to all the casuals out there. I saw Fortnite tweeted, remember Fortnite on iOS? How about we bring that back later this year? Fortnite will return in Europe on iOS through the Epic Games Store. Shout out DMA, an important new law in the EU that stands for Europe, Jeff, making this possible. And then they finished the tweet with this: Apple, the world is watching. And then it's a gif of the banana going like this. The banana person, Jeff.
Oh, I thought he was doing this floss.
Well, no, wait, hold on. No, he's definitely doing this. Pointing at his eyes and pointing at Apple. Now, it's interesting for Fortnite in particular, but the article goes on to say that streaming game stores, just like Trent said, you know, the NVIDIA GeForce Now, Xbox Cloud Gaming, that's pretty decent, you guys. I mean, I don't see why there shouldn't be any reason for me to get my Xbox Cloud Gaming should I want to do that anywhere I want. I mean, I can do it on my PC. I've got it on my MetaQuest. It's not super practical to play it on my MetaQuest, but I got it. But I could see, you know, hopping on my iPhone and connecting the controller, you know, when I'm in Fiji or Maui or Cancun or Puerto Rico or the Gulf of Mexico or any other foreign land. So this is great news, I think.
Yeah. And honestly, the part that's mostly interesting to me, I mean, obviously I think this is good for games, right? Like I should be able to put those apps on my Apple TV and then stream, right? If Apple is smart, right? Put those apps on the Apple TV, let me connect the controller to it, and then play it like a regular. Can you connect the controller to it now, Vector? Do you know? I think you probably can, I would imagine.
I believe so.
So number one, I think it's good for that. But number two, I think it was just more interesting to me that this came about because of the ability to sideload apps now. Apple has to concede to that in Europe, like Rob was saying. So it kind of opens the floodgates. I mean, that's they're going to unlock it for European devices, but you know, with all technology, I mean, like the cat is out of the bag now. I would be surprised if that doesn't eventually lead to change, here stateside as well. Just because people are going to figure out a way around this. People are going to be able to, if it's convenient, like we will find a way, basically. And I just, I'm surprised it took this to get to this point. I know Apple's, stingy and hard headed, but yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, things like Fortnite and all that stuff can come back because I didn't even think about that, but PUBG and Warzone were pretty big, on the iPhone, and Fortnite hasn't even been able to really tap into that market. So it'll be interesting to see that. And like if streaming is going to be a thing, I haven't found it to meet any of my needs. But if it was going to, it would be this form of it. I think if I could, like if I could hop in and do some stuff in a video game while I'm at work and just like, oh hey, there's like I think like Destiny, right? Like when they had Xur would drop every week and you could go look at his items, like something simple like that. Like, oh, I could have a controller, hop on my phone, and then run and go check on Xur, see what items he had up for this week, and then log out or something. Something quick like that. Xur.
Emperor Zerg?
Xur is
That's where
XUR, Rob.
my mind went as well.
XUR. You guys didn't play Destiny, but
Yeah.
so anyway, just something simple like that. I think this is how I would probably end up using it is through the phone.
And that's the promise of cloud gaming, which Jeff has ignored this entire time.
It's because
I
it's
think-
mostly dog shit.
No, it's not. It's not, Jeff. And the best part about it is what you just said. If you're at work or if you're someplace else and you don't have your gaming PC, so all you need is a good internet connection. Cloud gaming is the future because we're not going to be tied down to our big honking game systems, Jeff. We're not going to be big old gaming PCs out the yin yang. We're not going to be getting screwed.
What's that hand?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting screwed. I think he might have just you went a little too far on that.
But that's
one.
going to even the playing field of everybody being. You don't. Okay, Rob has the best gaming system of all time. He's got the best gaming PC of all time.
Right
I
here.
can't compete with that, and so he's going to get the better experience than me. But I got the best internet connection of all time now. So the cloud gaming is going to come to me, and Rob is going to be over there in Slow Town. But he's got the best gaming.
It will be
PC,
Slow Town.
it evens out.
I'm playing off my thing. Jeff's in Slow Town.
But that's the promise of cloud gaming is, like I said, evening out, leveling out the playing field where everybody has access to the high-powered machines. That's what I want.
Okay.
You don't want that? Oh yeah, forgot because you got the best gaming PC of all time. So
No,
you don't
I
have to
kid.
worry.
I kid. I could see it on occasion. I've used streaming in the past. It's not something that I think is going to be life-changing for my particular needs, but I like that it can be there.
It's the next step.
I need it?
It's
it
the next
might be.
evolution.
But what's the next? So that's actually the next step is a great way to put it. So remember last week where we were talking about Ubisoft and they're saying you don't need to own your games anymore. It's just all my subscription service. Is it all going to go subscription-based streaming? Is that what you wish?
Cloud gaming.
Subscription-based? Or you're still buying the games for $50, $60, $70 a pop and then streaming and then paying for the streaming on top of it?
What? I don't want that. I just want one price. Give me the cloud service. Give me the cloud, everything, all at my disposal, at my fingertips. I don't have to worry about booting up a PC. I don't got to wait 10 years for my PC to boot up. I
Do
can just
you use
cloud
the
instantly.
Xbox Cloud Gaming? Have you used it?
That was the first one I ever used. I don't have it set up right now, but I don't know if you remember this a couple years ago when I went to go visit my parents in Texas and there was no gaming PC over there. the only way I was able to play games on my MacBook was cloud streaming through the use of Rob's NVIDIA
That's right.
GeForce Now service
I do
and
remember that.
the xCloud. I was able to play Game Pass games just on my browser, my MacBook, and so those were a great experience I had.
Does xCloud have a price? Like, is that a free service? I've never
I don't
used
know
it.
if
That's why I'm asking.
I don't know if it's still in beta, or I think you just have to be a Game Pass member, right?
I'm looking it up right now. Let's see.
Because if you just go to Xbox.com and
It says
whatever
Cloud Gaming
game,
beta, yeah, and it just says sign in.
okay, I don't know if they ever took it out of beta, but you have to sign into your Xbox account, and then I think you have to be a Game Pass subscriber, and then you get access to all the cloud.
I'm just seeing the
gaming.
same things I saw when I put it on my MetaQuest, but I haven't actually tried to play any games on my MetaQuest. Interesting. Tells me to get Game Pass Ultimate. So I need to pay for Game Pass Ultimate. Play games from the cloud is what it says. All right, interesting. Luckily, I have Game Pass Ultimate, boys. Not that I need to stream games. Anyway, that was just I was just bragging at that point. All right, what's next? What's next on the docket?
Well, in positive news, boys, the future looks bright because Microsoft just laid off 1,900 Activision Blizzard and Xbox employees.
Okay.
He played a trick on us, Jeff.
I was fooled the whole time.
Blizzard president Mike Ybarra has also decided to leave, and Blizzard's survival game has been canceled. The gaming news looks bright in 2024, boys. We're off to a great start. Microsoft is primarily laying off roles at Activision Blizzard, but some Xbox and ZeniMax employees have also been impacted by the cuts. So all of you Activision Blizzard, remember when that merger, when they were buying each other and they were in court for 10 years? It was all so that they could lay off 1,900 employees. That's how they paid their legal fees.
I just
That's how they did it.
But it's not just Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. You know, Riot Games this week laid off 500 something people, and then JeffW put up an interesting Excel sheet of all these video game companies that are laying off their employees.
Yeah, this is that list I just put up in Factory. You can maybe save that and put on the notes.
Throw this up on the screen, Jeff. Can you, or Trent?
It's layoffs.fyi, and I sorted it for everything after the first of this year. And like Rob was saying, there's quite a bit. There's some non-US stuff on the top 10 list, so this list tracks a lot of stuff. But yeah, Twitch laid off 500 people, Riot Games, eBay 1,000, Google 1,000, Wayfair 1,000, Unity 1,800, Wayfair 1,600. Sorry. Even Discord laid off almost 200 people. Yeah, it's kind of it's been a brutal year if you're on the chopping block. I feel like
I don't Discord and Google aside, because we're a video game podcast after all, but sucks for everybody who got fired at in Moby. I wonder why this trend is going this way. I feel like, and of course I'm just an outsider looking into the snow globe here, but video games are as popular as they've ever been. So it's not like these video game companies are having a hard time. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Video games make more money than movies and music industry combined. So I don't really of course, again, I'm not in the business, so I'm just speaking from the outside, but it's wild that there can be so many layoffs in this field.
Yeah. And especially, our next stuff we're going to talk about here in a minute, these kind of things pop up and really feed the industry. So you wonder how do they struggle so much to keep people? And I will say, from the Blizzard aspect, I think Blizzard has been dog shit for a few years now, at least. They've been kind of trending down. I mean, I think Diablo, kind of showed up and then, ate shit pretty quickly. Overwatch 2, it was a pretty bad idea. They haven't really done anything with WoW that has been, amazing for the franchise in quite some time. I feel like Blizzard's kind of on a down trend. So when they have I did see a quote from Mike Ibarra, or when he got canned, and there was one of the journalists, I had to find it, were saying that when they last spoke to him that he was going to stay at Blizzard, somebody would have to pry him out of there because he wanted to stay. And it's like those guys, the top guys, these names we've seen for years at Blizzard, I'm more than happy really to see those people gone, because I don't think it's trending in the right way. But everybody lower level, it's kind of like, this is especially shitty. You don't think like I don't think anybody here would have their company bought by Microsoft and then you assume, oh, now I'm fucked.
19,000 of you are gone.
Yeah, like you think now I'm screwed now that Microsoft bought us. You'd think they'd have a little bit of extra change to keep people employed, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of gross, really, and really, really sucks for people who make these games that we love.
So it's been about
Yeah.
3 months since that merger, and roughly 8% of Microsoft's overall 22,000 employees have been cut.
Womp womp. Yeah, it was all over my Twitter feed today. And the last few days with Riot and everybody else, just people going, yeah, just found out I got fired too, so if anybody has a job. I've seen so many of those dang tweets. It just sucks. It sucks. But if any of those designers want to come work pro bono for the Sandbox Gamers,
Right?
by all means.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get to the biggest story of 2024. JeffW knows it. Palworld ignited a fervor, a furor, a fever
The Furor?
whoa.
Hold on.
as
The
it
Furor?
becomes an overnight sensation.
Oh my God.
Cute video game creatures with guns have become a surprise hit. And this was so big that JeffW could not give me a ride home from work because he was playing Palworld and he
my
was
God.
immersed.
That's
in
some
true.
Picard action. That's a deep personal reference. Nobody will understand what I just said, but it is Picard 100%. So Jeff W has been playing this game, but we'll talk about that in our video game discussion section.
Yes. Palworld
So-
has sold 7 million units in 5 days.
Yeah, this thing just popped up overnight because now it's a household name almost, at least amongst gamers, Palworld. But a week ago, it was Pokemon with guns. That's what everybody was referring to. Pokemon
Yeah.
with guns is coming out, and now nobody calls it that, even though that's what it is. Everybody knows what Palworld is. So it's wild that this little out of nowhere game just popped up and really took the world by storm. So much that even the most casual of casuals, no offense to the casuals, but let's say you're a casual named Jimmy and you don't really play games. This is and you heard about this game. Even casuals like Jimmy are trying to play this game.
Yeah, I guess I'll get into it later, but yeah, this thing is pretty impressive. And like Rob said, like I feel like there was probably like some rumbling about this before a little bit. I would be curious to go back and like I'm trying to think if I ever saw anything about it and noted it, prior to release. But yeah, I had just heard, oh hey, one of my buddies like, hey, we should download this and play it. And yeah, like overnight, I mean, it was insanity. The servers couldn't keep up. I tried to log. We tried to play the other night, and it was having some struggles. Getting us there. But yeah, and this is what I was referring to earlier. It's just these are some of my favorite games. Things like this that come out, and then you just have to play it. There's no lead up. There's no anticipation. It just comes out and then just kind of blows up. It's very I don't know. I don't think either of you got into Valheim very much, but the beginning of the pandemic for me, Valheim was I'm not sure how many hours I have in that game. I can look on Steam, but it's a similar vibe, survival crafting battle type game. I wouldn't say battle, but survival crafting game. And yeah, man, it is surprisingly great. And considering it rips off one of the biggest franchises, if not the biggest franchise ever, is pretty impressive to not be corny, right? You have the other, even something like maybe I don't want to say rip off, but like Digimon back in the day, the other Pokemon was essentially what I thought of it as. There's times where I struggle with that stuff. Like I really don't. I'd rather just have the original, And this game somehow is super entertaining and kind of breaks that mold. It's impressive for sure.
It says it sold 5 million and overtakes Cyberpunk 2077 in Steam's most played games list.
Yeah, it was 1 million concurrent players. That wasn't the record. PUBG
the record
hit
is
that.
PUBG.
Yeah, but it overtook Baldur's Gate, which I think had a strong lead in that top spot. If I recall the list that I saw.
Yeah, and just for some context, for recent games that have come out, Spider-Man 2 sold 3.3 million in its first 3 days. God of War sold 3 million in 3 days, and Last of Us 2 sold 4 million in the same time period. So I'm seeing two different reports. One says 5 million and one says 7 million. But
yeah,
either way, it's the biggest game of the year.
And it's on Game Pass. It's that's how I didn't pay for it. I'm paying it through the Game Pass PC. So I paid for it, but through the subscription, right? And I would be, if you're Microsoft, all those people you got rid of, I would be surprised. If I'm them, I am pushing to make this game a great experience on my console while you have the chance. And I'll get into it later about the Pokemon comparisons, but yeah, I think it'd be very unfortunate if Microsoft did not jump on the opportunity to make this game as good as it can, or assist these guys, or let's get some updates, because there's some updates with differences between the Steam and the Game Pass version. So yeah, man, it's good is what I'll say for now.
Yeah.
It says Palworld Pokemon plagiarism accusations also. Here's an interesting little quote. It says, we are currently receiving abusive and defamatory comments against our artists, in addition to tweets that appear to be death threats. Imagine being so engrossed in Pokemon that you're threatening death. People.
For who is essentially, I think literally the Pokemon company has to be one of the wealthiest companies maybe in human existence ever. They have to be, I swear. So it's like these people, you care that another game kind of ripped off the creature ideas a little bit, and even then, there's and I think Vector has it on screen. If you keep scrolling down some of these comparisons, and let's be honest, when you play it, it is has clear inspiration for what we're talking about, and it's really close on some of these, but at the same time, I think it's different enough. They don't go by the name, and I'm not gonna side on Like Pokemon is Pokemon. It's if they didn't make this, that's their fault. You can't find every little excuse to go after this company for putting this out. I mean, it sucks for you that you missed out, but tough shit, basically, in my opinion.
They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick.
Yeah, what's all these people like? Why would you crusade for a multi-billion-dollar company? Like, fuck off. They have Pikachu. The Pikachu branding is bigger than this entire game still. You know, like, why would you crusade for Nintendo or the Pokemon company? That makes no sense.
I remember a very similar thing happened a while back when Genshin Impact came out and people were pooping their pants because they're ripping off Breath of the Wild. Death threats. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. If you crusade for, a corporation, you're an idiot. Especially if you're not, if you don't work for them. I mean, come on. What are we doing here, fellas?
Well, you know what? I think that's a good segue into our Let's Play section where we're going to talk about all the video games we've been playing this week. It says Vector first, but I'm going to make an executive decision because I know Jeff's all hopped up on Go-Go Juice over this game. So, Jeff, tell us all about Palworld. You dived in. You went in face first and snorted the proverbial powder, if you will. So tell us all about Palworld.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a lot to say about it, but the basic gist of it is they've done it's like a survival crafting game. You have to feed yourself, you have to build a base, you have to get materials, and then you throw in this like Pokemon element into it.
Okay, well, hold on. Because I'm so super duper clueless. So start from the beginning of everything you just said, because you just described 3 different games. So,
yeah. No, yeah.
Like when you start the game, walk me through it.
Yeah. So you start the game, you get to create your character. There is some I think it's, and this is a strong point on it. It's kind of lacking in story. You don't need to listen to characters talk or do anything. In the beginning of the game, you kind of come out of this cave, you're in third person, and you run through this tutorial, and it's kind of literally that. It is those 3 games I just described. It's a base building Pokemon game, essentially, open world Pokemon game. And I know for you guys, I don't think either of you have ever really gotten into the Pokemon games, but you have a light story.
I played enough. I got the gist of what Pokemon is.
But I will say it's like they say the best stuff is it's not about who does it first, right? Sometimes the best version of something is the person that comes in later, simplifies something, and then makes it palatable, right? And I feel like that's what this is doing. All the mechanics are very simple. You're in a big world. I mean, I played several hours the other day, and I still haven't explored. I've only explored a tiny area of the map, and that's just me catching these Pokemon pal characters, what they call them. They have the same. It's the same concept. These things have different abilities. You're not really fighting them in a traditional Pokemon way. You don't run into a Pokemon and then it stops your game. They're just kind of part of the world with you. So you're not going to run into this thing in the water and then have to stop and fight it. The way the combat works in it, for me at least so far, is I'm just running into a fight. You may or may not have a gun. You might have an axe. And you just your little Pokemon is your little AI buddy, and he's just doing his abilities. You don't have to command them. So that's why I say it's kind of
scissors,
Pokemon light.
like Pokemon.
No, you don't do any. You have almost no input with these creatures other than capturing them and then managing them. So when I said the base building, there's a whole base building and like survival concept going on here too. You have to build a base up, and you can have certain Pokemon here or pal buddies or whatever the hell pals. They have like, different abilities. Some can, help you build a building quicker. Some can help you, like, you get these eggs and you can get like special pals out of the eggs. Some of these larger, more rare ones can come out of that. And some Pokemon I'm just gonna call them Pokemon basically.
I was
Some
about to
pals,
say, they're not Pokemon.
yeah,
Don't get
not
us
Pokemon.
sued.
Some pals can they can help you make the egg hatch quicker. Some can farm better. Some can will give you yarn. And
Farm.
man,
Farm.
it is a crazy
Look at this farm he's showing.
I read the concept, and if I showed you a picture of this game,
Hello.
before you got a chance to play it, you're gonna be like, number one, this sounds like too much and it looks stupid, but I swear there is a charm. There is something about it.
You didn't tell me that it was like Viva Pinata.
Oh, you know what? I mean,
Great game.
Honestly, I mean, you have that in there. I mean, it is pretty incredible. And then, I got to the first part where you can start to give them guns, and it's fucking crazy just to see you can equip these things with like AKs and you're like, how the fuck is this thing have a gun? This is insanity. And if you see that elephant that Vactor's showing in this video, or not showing, but the video showed, that's kind of the first creature you run into, and you're like, it's surprising because usually a Pokemon ripoff looks like dog shit. But these, the creatures they have in here are interesting and unique enough, but similar enough to Pokemon that they're not cringy, except for the Gatling gun holding Thunder.
No way, that's the best one. He's like the Hemi from Team Fortress, but it's some weird Pikachu looking thing.
And man, it's just good. And I think the other things I had to say about it, people talking about the Nintendo aspect and all that, and the Pokemon Company and Game Freak, and my biggest thing is this game is super fun, and it's their fault for being, for refusing to do something new with the franchise. The Pokemon games that they keep releasing are, I'm sure selling fine, but nobody really talks about them that much in a way of you don't hear a Pokemon game come out and then everybody has to play it, right? There is no Fortnite, PUBG type of Pokemon game. There's nothing that is so good that everybody is going to jump in and try it. Whereas this game, I feel like kind of is. And it's just kind of a testament to, this is the problem when, you lock down your system, you lock down your, you lock down your IP, right? So, for example, I mean, whether Nintendo likes it or not, or Pokemon Company likes it or not, this game's probably going to exist, right? I don't think there's enough there for them to pull it off the market or do anything. It's different enough, and there's nothing with Pokemon names in here. It's close, but it's different, right? And I just feel like you can't, if somebody's upset at this game, or if they want to sue or be litigious, to me that's speaks more to them. You have this entire PC crowd. Think about it. If you own only a PC and you want to play any of the Pokemon games, you have to basically steal it, right? You have to emulate it. You have to rip it off, essentially, whether that's ripping off the console, ripping off the game cart. You have to basically steal it to play it. And it just goes back to, okay, you can't blame somebody else for serving an underserved market. The PC crowd is going to love this game because it is Pokemon-esque, and they won't give that to them, right? So that's kind of when I'm playing it the whole time, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, how did they miss this opportunity? How did they not minus the gun part. I know they'll never put guns in in Pikachu's hands. I know Fortnite's never gonna have a Pikachu with a bazooka, but like they could have done this game. I think that's the most intriguing part. Any of these games that pop up like this, right? That are small, that are big. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Pokemon Company. Any of these people could have made this game. They just didn't basically have the balls to do it, and then they're so stuck in their ideology that you're missing an entire market. And so I don't think you can be mad like when you see those Steam numbers. I mean, that's what happens when you have people that can't play your games. I mean, they're gonna play the ripoff, and even if it's just slightly better, that's kind of what they have. So yeah, man, I think you guys should try it. Just boot it up. It's super simple. It's not something that's going to be, hard to get into. Play a couple hours of it. It's pretty interesting, and I'm hoping with the Xbox version they're supposed to bring in some more server features and stuff like that. So maybe at some point you can start hopping into like 32-person servers and seeing all the crazy shit in there. That's what I'm kind of anticipating over the coming months here with this game, is just some nice features and some nice different stuff to try out.
Well, you know me, I like open world, Jeff.
Yeah,
I like open world.
Yeah, Wagner's not an open world guy, but Rob, you should definitely like just hop in, try it out. I don't know if it's your type of game necessarily, but this game's going to be fucking huge. This could be one of the biggest games of the year. We're looking at not sales numbers wise, but we're like in like a Harry Potter type, first month of the year, huge game that's going to probably be. We're probably going to be talking about this a year from now. I bet.
It's a game of the year contender for Jeff already, Vector.
It's pretty good.
Do you think, one last question before we move on, do you think it's worth paying for on Steam versus playing the free Xbox version?
No, I would say you could play the because there's a couple features you could tell this is an early access game, right? They like when I started up on Xbox Game Pass, there's no exit button. So you have to Alt F4 out of the game. So there's like a couple things, but that's fixed in Steam. So there's a couple things there, but I don't know if it's worth the $30. I would say keep it, and then if it ever leaves Game Pass, I would probably then switch over to Steam to play. But it's definitely worth playing it. If you have Xbox Game Pass, it is 100% worth a try.
All right. We'll see. I'll put it on. It's on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
It was already on my radar, but you put it a little more on my radar. But I don't think Vector is going to play it. Look at his face. He doesn't
he's gonna read comics.
Yeah. Now it's gone, but I do want to. It's not on the show notes anymore, but I do want to hear about it, so I'm going to bring it up anyways for the last portion of our game talk. Trent was playing Armored Core. I want to hear
Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Tell us about it, because Square, FromSoft. I almost said SquareSoft. FromSoft. You don't typically play their games, and so I'm curious how you're enjoying Armored Core.
Yeah, so I am not a fan of FromSoft games, and Armored Core was recommended to me by a coworker who is a huge Armored Core fan, and he was telling me how he's going through his second playthrough because he lost his first game save, and he's going through it again. But I gotta say, this game is not hitting me the same way that a very similar game to this was Zone of the Enders. Mm-hmm. And that was also a PlayStation game where you're controlling mechs, and the controls and the movements were so much more fluid in that game, where I felt like if I made a movement, the mech responded. Like it went exactly like I wanted it to go. This game, it feels just a little bit on the sluggish side. And when I make a movement, like it takes it a little bit longer to move. So that part, I'm not enjoying as much the controls of it. And then the difficulty is just like all the other famous FromSoft games. Just it is relentless. It forces you to replay missions over and over and over again. And I think my time with Armored Core 6 has come to an end, boys.
Really?
It was
He hated it.
Did you buy it,
was-
or is it
I-
on a streaming service?
No, I bought
Or
it because
subscription.
it was on sale on Amazon for $39. And $39 is a good price for this game. I would not want to have paid $50 or $60 for this, or $70, I should say. But if you have previous experience with Armored Core, I'm sure Armored Core 6 is right up your alley.
What was that Xbox game, mecha game that came with a special controller? Remember that?
It sounds familiar.
It was just it had this big
Steel
giant-
Battalion.
Yeah, Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
That was when we worked at Game Crazy, and people would be trading in that. And then we had to stop taking in the trades because you couldn't sell it. Steel
Oh.
I
Battalion.
remember
man.
this. I remember this.
I don't know. I don't know why I just thought of that.
I haven't thought
very
about that
quickly.
game in 30 years.
30 years. I've been playing Portal Reloaded this week, boys. We talked about this last week very briefly, but to reiterate, this is a fan mod of Portal 2, which takes place between Portal and Portal 2, where you take hold of a new test subject and are going through test chambers to eventually make your way out. Now, I haven't finished this game yet because I'm just playing it a little at a time, but I am enjoying it considering it's free. As long as you have Portal 2 on PC, that is. But Portal 2 is only $10 on PC. So if you're a Portal head like me and Trent and Jeff, and you want a little something new, but you don't own Portal 2, I think $10 is worth the price of entry for this game. The puzzles are really well put together. It starts just like the last Portal games did in the sense that it's not assuming that you know how to play Portal, which I think is good, even though I do know how to play Portal. But just like the last two games, you get your portal gun and you can only make one portal and the other portal is stationary and you have to sort of just figure out how to get out. And even in those first, I think there's 10 test chambers that you would consider tutorial or just like that. Even some towards the end had me scratching my head thinking, how am I supposed to get out of here? And then getting that beautiful aha moment when you finally figure it out and you're like, oh, I was so stupid. That was so easy. And then it takes you out of the test chambers into, again, its own story. This isn't a officially endorsed Valve product in the sense that they made it, but they do allow the fans to take over. So it's got fan acting and fan writing, but I think everything's really great in it. Again, considering the cost, the game looks great. It runs great. Jeff was pointing out that last week that Portal has quite the fan community, and that the fan mods for Portal are out of this world, so to speak. I've never played any of them. This is the first one that I've ever tried. And it's great. I'm really enjoying this game, especially because it's Portal. You can do one or two puzzles, maybe three, and just be like, all right, I'm good. Nice little fun activity. I'm going to go do whatever else I'm doing, and then I can come back to it. It's, as far as I know, a 6 or 7 hour campaign. It's not like grabbing me by the throat like Elden Ring did or Spider-Man 2 or anything like that, where it's consuming my thoughts, where I want to go back and play Portal Reloaded. But in a nice little drought time that we're in right now, before all the heavy hitters start coming out this year, it's a fun game, and I would definitely recommend it. Again, that's Portal Reloaded, because we'll probably never get a Portal 3. It's just something tells me we'll never get Portal 3.
Yeah, Valve, come on.
I would love a Portal 3, but I don't think it's going to happen. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Sandbox Gamers. But don't leave yet, because I got to tell you some stuff. First and foremost, did you know Vactor, our very own Vactor, has a YouTube channel called Vactorverse, where he talks all things comic books with a little Star Wars thrown in. I'm looking at your latest videos. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Star Trek Year 5. Is Echo any good? Superman Space Age, Marvel's What If, Unveiling the Future. What else you got? The History of Maul, Invincible Season 2. Thomas Healy, friend of the show, tells you why you need to read Spawn in 2024. There's so many good things. Tell them about it, Vactor.
Everything Rob just said is true. YouTube.com/Vactor. You're going to find everything superhero and Star Wars that's going on right now. We got some great shorts popping off right now. So you want to head over there and check out some Star Wars goodness. People are going crazy over this Family Guy clip that I posted, where they're talking about episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and Palpatine's desk. Why does he have a desk? And there's so many comments. Well, he has to have a desk. Of course he has a desk. He's got paperwork to do. And then another person, what are you talking about? He doesn't have paperwork to do. That's and then another person comes in. Well, he got a secretary, man. He's got to have a desk. And there's all kind of great context and community that's going on over.
Yeah, you're right. This short is popping up right now. 693,000 views, 600 comments.
I don't know why these people like this clip so much, but keep watching it. Keep watching more of it, friends. YouTube.com/Vactor. And we've got some more goodness coming up. Actually, I'm doing 2 comic book reviews tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Power Rangers, Rob's favorite Bulk and Skull, and all the Power Rangers, what they're doing. And then my personal favorite comic book of 2023, World's Finest, Batman Superman by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. So we're going to be talking all things superheroes and Star Wars. YouTube.com/Vactor.
Yeah. And then you can find us, the Sandbox Gamers, everywhere. We have a YouTube page. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, you knew that already. But if you're one of the lowly audio listeners, first of all, we still love you. But we got a YouTube page. I'm looking at our shorts. Not too shabby, Vactor. Once popping off with 81,000 views. The not-so-secret video game origins of Sweet Tooth. Ever heard of him?
Ooh, my wife's favorite character.
Yeah, we got tons of shorts. Plus, we're putting up video portions of our pod. What else do we got? We got Let's Plays. We got all sorts of things. So you got to check us out. Sandbox Gamers Podcast. That's the Sandbox Gamers on YouTube, or just follow the link tree in the show notes, because that has our Facebook, Instagram, all the places. And you can find me /the Sandbox Gamers on TikTok at WonderRob, WonderRob, where I'm streaming games Fridays and Saturday nights, and sometimes Jeff even joins me and hops in the chat. And
you got a little good, anomaly stream running here.
The anomaly games pop off, Jeff.
Oh yeah,
they love them.
Me and the chat are having some good time, either trolling Rob or trolling each other. It's a good time.
No Twitch or anything are set up yet, but everybody in these chats are going, why aren't you playing on Twitch? Why aren't you playing on YouTube Live? Because I don't know it. I don't know how. Okay? I just do Twitch, or I just do TikTok. But one of these days, we'll synchronize anything. But again, you'll find all those links in the show notes, or just linktree /the Sandbox Gamers. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, whatever you're listening to. And we're going to be back at you next week with more video games. GG, everybody. GG.